Hi, good morning, JT. My name is Sanaya. I'm one of the public health students that is working with you regarding your nutrition plan. And I just wanted to, kind of wrap up some of the discussions that we've had regarding, some changes that you can make in terms of your dietary plan and some of the information that we also received from your genomic testing. And then I also had a fun recipe that you could try that kind of incorporates some of the findings that we got from your nutrition testing that would help you kind of choose foods that are less inflammatory and foods that are better for your microbiome. So let's get started, okay? So why don't we chat a little bit about some of the recommendations and then I'll dive into showing you the recipe that I've chosen for you. And so, as a reminder, um, we had talked about ways that you can kind of cut back on some of the foods that you typically eat, maybe change them around, but still stick with, your cultural diets. And so, some things that we had discussed were, your family history of a heart attack. And so we wanted to change your diet, which is currently a little bit high in saturated fats, cholesterol, and sodium, and maybe switch to more of a Mediterranean diet. And the Mediterranean diet, that is typically rich in fruits and vegetables. It also includes oils, herbs and spices, lots of nuts, yogurts, those kind of things. And so this specific recipe is actually a yogurt parfait, which is going to include yogurt, berries, nuts, and a lot of other good stuff. And then additionally, we had also talked a little bit about cutting back on your levels of sodium just because you did have a higher blood pressure, and sodium or salt has been shown to be correlated with high blood pressure. And so an example of that kind of diet is the DASH diet. And today's recipe does not include any salt and no added sugars as well. And then moving forward, some other things that we had talked about were the findings that we received from your genetic testing company. And so they did show that you were at higher risk for certain pathways, including the MTHFR pathway, which is usually shows that you have a higher impact of inflammation, which can affect kind of your heart health. And so, based off that, I'm really recommending an anti-inflammatory diet where I'm bringing in foods that are rich in B vitamins, other vitamins. And so, examples of those foods include pomegranates, berries, nuts. And so, all of those are included in today's recipe. And then that testing also showed that you are at risk for high impact of cholesterol. And so, based off that, it is good to kind of limit the unhealthy fats in your diet. So, to avoid things like red meat, oils that are solid at room temperature, those kind of things, because that is going to kind of damage your vessels in your heart as well and could impact your risk for heart attack in the future. And then the last thing that we did in terms of testing was your microbiome testing. And so we did find that you have pretty low gut diversity. And ways that basically means like the healthy bacteria in your gut are pretty low and they're not very diverse, which means there's not many different kinds of healthy bacteria in your gut. And so for today's recipe, we're including yogurt, which is basically a cultured product of many, many kinds of healthy bacteria. Let me actually see what kind of bacteria are in the yogurt that we're using today. We are using a Carb Master yogurt from Kroger. And so it is peach flavored, but it has no added sugars. And so it's pretty healthy. Only 5 grams of carbs, 2 grams of sugar, and only 70 calories per serving, which is about 2/3 of a cup. And so some of the bacteria, some of the cultures that are included in this yogurt are Thermophilus, Bulgaricus, and then L. acidophilus, and then B. bifidum. So lots of healthy bacteria that will be introduced through this. So now that I've kind of reviewed some of the dietary recommendations we received from your nutrient testing, why don't we get directly into the recipe so we have plenty of time for that. I have chosen a breakfast item for you. I know you and your mother are very tied to your, my apologies, cultural roots. And so Mexican yogurt is a common part of Mexican culture, as I'm sure you're aware. I'm doing a little bit of a spin on it and doing more of like kind of a parfait with lots of berries and pomegranate and nuts. And so why don't we get started? The ingredients that you will need for this recipe include your choice of yogurt. As I recommend, Carb Master yogurt from Kroger is very good. You can also do no sugar added Greek yogurt, which are great. Any of those are fine. You can do, if you don't prefer flavors, you can do like plain yogurt. That's also fine. So I have that. And then I also have raspberries. You can also get this at any grocery store. Pomegranate, which I've already kind of cut up myself and separated. And put it into its own box. And then I have some raisins as well. And then I also have some almonds. So about a handful of almonds. That's all I'm choosing to put on today's parfait. But other things that you can add are lightly sweetened or no sugar added granola as well. Okay, and then lastly, I'm choosing this little box, which is very convenient to use. It's already portioned, and so you can make maybe like 5 of those, so that way you can grab one to go in terms of your breakfasts for every day. And so the recipe itself is very simple. All you need to do is take a few spoons of yogurt. I would say maybe we should probably put a generous amount of yogurt, especially since it's going to be your breakfast. So I put about maybe 6 to 8 tablespoons of yogurt. The recipe could, one serving is about 2/3 of a cup. So that's another easier way to portion it out if you do have measuring spoons with you. And then I'll go ahead and get started with some of the raspberries. I'm just going to put about a handful of raspberries right on top. And as a reminder, as you will be choosing some more anti-inflammatory foods, those kind of things include, more nuts, berries, healthy oils, fishes, those kind of things. And then fermented foods are a good place to go in terms of things that are healthy for your microbiome. So you could try yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut or kimchi, other fermented kind of vegetables. Okay, so I put a generous amount now of my pomegranate and my raspberries. I'm just gonna chop quickly a couple almonds just because it's easier to put chopped almonds. So I have a knife here. I'm gonna take a handful of almonds. And I'm just gonna quickly dice them on my. So once you've chopped up your almonds, feel free to put the now kind of crushed almonds onto your parfait as well. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the parfait. Sorry, my camera, it's a little hard, but there's a parfait, has lots of fun, healthy antioxidants and yogurt, which is good for your microbiome. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was a helpful video and best of luck with your kind of dietary changes.